Hey Deanna, it's Dr. Scott. I have some feedback for you on your Essay 2 draft, and just as a reminder of what I'm looking for in the Essay 2. In the revision, I'm looking for a thesis statement that's clear, that's focused, and that makes an argument about two flood wall murals. I'm also looking at the supporting reasons that you include with your thesis statement. So there's an overall argument in your paper, but then within that there are the reasons supporting your thesis statement. And those are generally your paragraphs. So I'm looking at how your paragraphs support the paper's overall argument. I'm also looking for supporting details, so the details from the murals that you use to back up your argument. Are you using good detail, and are you explaining how the detail helps support your paper's overall argument? I'm also looking at organization and transitions, and I'm looking at integration of a couple paraphrases, and then there's other less important criteria that I'm looking at. In-text citations, MLA formatting, integrating a visual into the text, and a paragraph with no be verbs. So what's most important, and what I think is most important for you in revising your essay, is spending some time on the thesis statement and a little bit about the supporting details. So that's what the screencast is going to be about. It's about your paper's overall argument. So when I read your paper, I really like that you group ideas together, and you took that highlighting thing that we talked about last week, and you kind of ran with it. And I think it works. Like the action paragraph, you're mostly talking about action in that paragraph. And when you have other ideas, like you have another paragraph and you kind of stay focused on that, that's awesome. That's really good. Where there's a lot of work that needs to be done is in kind of clarifying what exactly the argument is in your paper. And so I see a few things when I read the body paragraph. So I see community, I see emotion, I see storytelling, like telling an amazing story. And so I didn't know what you were trying to argue. It seemed like you were doing different arguments in different places. So like community, willpower is another one. So I saw like 4 potential arguments that you might have about the 2 murals. I think any one of those honestly could totally work. Like emotion, I think Dafford tries to get some kind of emotional response. And I think he does do that through action and shading and things like that. I also think that he might have an argument about how Portsmouth is kind of stubborn. Like we just deal with stuff, and I think that could also work. I also think that storytelling is another interesting idea that you could kind of work with. The thing to kind of that I really need to get across here is that you need to choose one. Doing all 4, it's going to make the paper kind of schizophrenic, and it's going to be doing a bunch of different things. You want it to kind of focus. So once you make that decision, that allows us to then talk about the body paragraphs, because the body paragraphs right now, you have a paragraph about action, and you're talking about a bunch of different actions that you see in the murals, and that's great. But there needs to be something that leads toward. That discussion about action should be supporting an argument. So if it's action to help tell a story, cool. If it's action to convey an emotion, awesome. If it's action to show how ornery Portsmouth is, and actually ornery is a good word for Portsmouth. Ornery Portsmouth is, awesome. If it's how to describe, it's like the sense of identity in the community, and that's like action is helping to support that, cool. Like deciding one of those allows you to then go into the body paragraphs to say not just like here's actions, but also these actions, do something like this, show, evoke an emotional response because blah blah blah, and then you've got a couple sentences that go after that. So you need to be able to do this so that there's like one argument that everything is kind of leading towards. And right now it's like I have a bunch of, this is actually kind of a cool thing, you have a lot of writing about action. The next step would be to say, once you figure out what your overall argument is, here's what that action is helping to support. Here's how how this writing about action is helping for this overall argument. Once you do that, once you kind of make that decision about what the argument is, once you kind of set the paragraphs up, so it's not just like there are several key actions in the outside frame of the picture, and actually like an opening sentence, kind of like this. Action to, and then again you need to decide that. Let's say that we're going to go with the emotion thing, to convey emotions to viewers. Okay, let's say that that's the topic sentence for that paragraph. Once you have that, you then need to go into the body paragraphs, like after your details, and discuss how those actions, you need to kind of explain the emotional reaction to the details that you're talking about. So you have the details. That's a huge step that a lot of folks are missing. You've got great details. It's explaining what those details, like interpreting those details and what they mean in terms of your paper's overall argument. Okay, so quick list here. Decide on an argument. Is it community? Is it emotion? Is it storytelling? Is it willpower? Like, where really is this essay going? Get paragraphs set up to support that argument. I gave you an example earlier of how you might kind of set that up with a topic sentence. Make sure that all the writing is kind of working towards supporting that topic sentence, and then make sure you explain how the details in that paragraph support that overall argument. So you've got a good draft, Deanna. You're further along than you were with your first essay, and I think that this essay is going to be pretty awesome. So let me know if you have any questions. We can chat later this week or early next week, but the revision is due next Friday. All right, I'll talk to you soon.